Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano.
And Jamie.
And we are continuing our series on the 10 U.S. foods that are banned abroad.
Yes.
Article originally appeared on Dr. Mercola. We'll provide the link below, so check that out. And it's also on eatlocalgrown.com,
Yes.
which is where we originally found it, and we traced it back to Dr. Mercola. So we are going to work on number 5 today.
Number 5.
And it's shocking to see that all this stuff that we put up with in the U.S., other countries don't put up with it. And they don't eat it, they don't want to eat it, they don't want any part of it. And really the frustrating thing is here that these companies that make our food in America make it different for the countries that it's banned in.
Right, so they might as well make the food the
Right.
same for both countries.
Right, Why would you make two different
for all
recipes?
countries, sorry.
Why would you make 2 different recipes for a burger bun, 2 different recipes for a candy, 2 different recipes for a drink, when there's certain countries that are saying we
Yes.
don't want X, Y, and Z in it. So why would you take the time? It's amazing. I guess the profits and it comes.
Well, I guess that's, it's all about money
Oh.
for these companies, and it is probably cheaper in the United States, and they probably sell more in the United States, so it's better to, make the profits higher here.
That's what it has to be. I mean,
Has to be
it has to
something.
be that. All right. So number 5.
Processed foods containing artificial food colors and dyes. More than 3,000 food additives, preservatives, flavorings, colors, and other ingredients are added to U.S. foods, including infant foods and foods targeted to young children.
3,000 food additives. I mean, that is amazing. As a professional chef, and many of you as home cooks, this is stuff that you would never dream of buying and having in your spice shelf.
Well, you would never use it at home.
You would never use it. So if you
would
don't
never add those colorings and flavorings at home.
If you don't use it at home, well, let's see the thing. A lot of people are buying prepared food, so you do have it in your cabinets. But when you make your own, when you cook yourself and you're making your own recipes,
or lunch,
right? You're not
adding those 3,000 food additives.
You're not adding two of those.
You're not adding any of them.
Right. But if you're buying
processed foods,
you have them in your house.
Right. So, meanwhile, many of these are banned in other countries, based on research showing toxicity and hazardous health effects, especially with respect to adverse effects on children's behavior. For example, as reported in the featured article, boxed mac and cheese, cheddar flavored crackers, Jell-O, and many kids' cereals contain red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, and/or blue 2, the most popularly used dyes in the United States. Research has shown this rainbow of additives can cause behavioral problems as well as cancer, birth defects, and other health problems in laboratory animals. Red 40 and yellow 6 are also suspected of causing an allergy-like hypersensitivity reaction in children. The Center for Science and the Public Interest reports that some dyes are also contaminated with known carcinogens.
It's mind-boggling to think. And we see the packages and we flip them over and you see all the food colorings. We've stayed away from that for years. We don't let our kids have any of that. And the thing is, these companies have trained. We're all trained to eat with our eyes, right? We're always like, oh, that looks pretty. So we have that preconceived notion that if a food looks pretty, and even in a restaurant, if a restaurant food looks more colorful, that it's going to be more attractive. And the interesting thing was, one of the restaurants I worked in years ago in London, Pierre Kaufman, his food was not pretty looking. He didn't care how pretty the plate looked. The food was good looking, don't get me wrong. But a lot of chefs will say, oh, let's add some different colors to the dish. And they start cooking with their eyes, as opposed to cooking with what tastes good and what's nutritionally balanced. Because you think that your eyes, and we're all caught in that, and chefs really, so it's no wonder why the food manufacturers are caught in that, because they know that we eat with our eyes first. And I think that's probably the biggest advice that we'd have to take away from this is, don't eat with your eyes.
Eat with what tastes good.
Eat with what tastes good, because a lot of food, now granted, a colorful food might taste good. I love mangoes. Mangoes are a bright yellow, right? So they taste good. But when you're talking about processed foods and plated foods in restaurants, they just start adding things just because it looks good before everything else takes into advance. And that's how it is with cereal. And I mean, look at like Fruit Loops.
Look at the boxes. look at what the kids see in the store.
Right.
It's like when they used to add. I don't even know, do they put toys into cereal anymore? I have no idea.
I don't.
But they would add toys because then kids would be like, oh, I want that toy,
Right,
Mom.
Cracker Jacks.
So then they'll they'll buy that box of cereal for their children rather than what is the actual health benefit of that cereal, of what you're putting into your body. And I see it all the time when we're at friends' houses, the crap that they're serving their children.
Oh my gosh.
They don't realize what's in it. It might be cheaper, but in the long run, is it really cheaper?
It's not. It's definitely not cheaper, especially when you get sick and you have allergies and you have sensitivities and you have ADD and ADHD and you have all these things. It's
and
not.
It's becoming so common in children today to have all of these behavioral problems and health problems. I mean, every kid I know, is
a lot of kids.
Not all, but
not all.
A lot of kids are on medications.
We know a lot of parents that actually feed their kids very properly, and that are really strict like us. And we also know a lot of parents that just aren't. And and some of them are family members, and you just watch.
How sick the kids are all the time.
Ear infections and sore throats and runny noses, and they're always sick, but yet they're the first ones to give them Fruit Loops but you've trained these kids at a year old that Fruit Loops are acceptable.
But it's interesting though, a lot of parents start out trying to be organic and healthy with their children.
A lot of them have that
intent, right? They make their own baby food. They give them organic cereal like Cheerios or, whatever the organic version is of that. But they give them something organic to start. But when they hit a year old, they can have that birthday cake. They don't care what's in that birthday cake. And then they give them whatever when they're out. Oh, you want some ice cream today? Oh, great. Oh, you want that candy bar? Oh, good. It's easier to just give them those things as they get older. So why don't we keep that mentality throughout their lives?
Right.
I never understood it. Yes, they're eating healthier at home, but when they go out to eat, it doesn't matter. I'll have mac and cheese for the kids. I'll have a hamburger or a hot dog or fries or whatever it is. And they don't think about what's in the food that they're serving.
Right. And we've said this before, you train kids, even if you let your kids have birthday cake once at a party, your kids don't know at 2 years old, at 3 years old, that when it's acceptable to have cake at other occasions.
Right.
So all of a sudden now cake becomes a regular thing because kids can't differentiate. Kids know that the sugar and it tastes good and they want it. So parents know, you know what happens when you eat sugar. You're in a totally different world because you're addicted to it so much. Our bodies run off of carbohydrates. So that's why there's this whole carbohydrate craze and avoid carbohydrates. You're fighting your body for something. There's a whole other blog.
Yes.
You're fighting your body for something it craves naturally. But when you refine it in sugar like that and high fat, your kids, it's abuse at that point. Your kids abuse that food. You abuse that food, and this is why we have so many problems. And of course, the prettier it looks, oh well. So where's it banned, all these chemicals?
So, it is banned in Norway and Austria. In 2009, the British government advised companies to stop using food dyes by the end of the year. The European Union also requires a warning notice on most food containing dyes. In countries where these food colors and dyes are banned, food companies like Kraft employ natural colorants instead, such as paprika extract, beetroot, and annatto. The food blogger and activist Vani Hari, better known as Food Babe, which we get her stuff,
yes,
recently launched a change.org petition to asking Kraft to remove artificial dyes from American mac and cheese to protect American children from the well-known dangers of these dyes.
The way you get rid of these dyes, the way you get rid of this stuff is you don't support the companies that do it. You don't give them the money, you don't support them, and you
send letters, send
tweets, leave something on their Facebook. It's mind-boggling to think that these companies just they don't care.
No,
they
it's all about money for them.
That's what it is.
And the other thing though is that people who are buying it don't care, right? So they don't care either.
Here's the issue with that. Everybody assumes that because it's for sale, that it's on the shelves, that it's safe.
Good for you and safe. Right?
And it's not. You have to be your own research, your own advocate.
You have to read the labels. Read the labels before you buy it. There are better choices out there of prepared foods. There are much better choices.
You're most likely going to pay more for the natural foods because that's the real cost of the food. That's the real cost of manufacturing it. That's the real cost of the shelf life. That's the real cost of better ingredients. It's the real cost of real food, not of preservatives, dyes, chemicals, fillers.
Yes.
And that's the bottom line. A lot of people. I think are unattractive. When it comes to price, a lot of people buy the best clothes, the best car, right? They buy nice shoes, they buy all the nice
But when
computers.
it comes to food,
It's the what can I get away with the cheapest. The things that make the most difference in your life are the things that people
Don't
get away.
spend.
They don't get. They spend the least amount as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. Chef Marcus Guiliano.
and Jamie.
Thanks for watching our 10 series, 10 foods that are banned in other countries, 10 U.S. foods that are banned in other countries. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thanks for watching.